Okay, I'm going to open up to the audience. We've got a couple of runners coming down. In between, I'm just going to advocate. I don't know if anybody's ever heard Paul Winton's podcast on upcycling roads. And he has this magic theory of just turning bike lanes, bus lanes, and putting all the money that you have into basically paying for buses. And instead of paying for underground and light rail, that if we paid for lots of buses and we repurposed our roads, that would solve lots of problems. But he can't, I think he might be like Bridget, and he had a bit of a few shots of some alcohol after speaking to some people in Wakakatahi and the Minister of Transport. But anyway, right, who's for the first question?
Kia ora koutou. Kia ora koutou, can you hear me? Thank you very much, ladies. And I just want to celebrate that this is a womanal as opposed to a manal. It's really cool. I guess, yeah, so many things to possibly say. I guess this is more of a comment. I hate being the person who does the comment rather than the question. I work in local government area. There are things called public forums at the beginning of council meetings. I don't know about a lot of councils. I know Angela's been speaking to some about food security and stuff. More people in this room would be awesome to come and speak to councils about things like we want more buses, we want better urban design, all that sort of thing. And I know it takes time out of everyone's day, and I hate putting it on everyone, but it's the same with environment, like the Environment Committee in Parliament. You can do it by Zoom now if you want to. And honestly, being spoken to and being given information, it does help with the discussions that follow. And if that information is left to people who just want to manipulate the business as usual situation and they will just want to batter it around, I listened to a few really interesting ones around the ETS discussions earlier this year. And they're literally just trying to protect what they've already got. So there has to be the counterfactual, the one that says, no, well, actually, a lot of us want something different. So I guess what I'm saying is councils particularly, that's my main perspective, we've got long-term plan stuff coming up next year. None of us do consultation particularly brilliantly. Very few of us do participatory democracy particularly well, if at all. Your best bet is come and front up and tell us what's what, because yeah, it's 10 minutes, and I know it's a precious 10 minutes, usually during the working day, and however much preparation time you need. But there are a lot of people who need to hear it, and they get to make decisions.
Thank you. That's a really good comment. I know, and given that we're going to talk about this later on, I know the Zero Waste Network have researchers and they put information like this together and then they send out those emails so that everybody can send them out. It's a really good collective way of being able to send it out to all your local councils. So maybe we can table it for after 3:30. Where's Piers? It's a good idea. Next question. Oh,
kia ora.
The lady up the top there at the back.
Thank you very much for the talk. I'd love to live in these cities you're designing. I'd love to cycle over the Harbour Bridge and eat a locally slaughtered, well-raised animal and have everything within 15 minutes. But the 15 minutes has become a conspiracy. How on earth do we connect with these people that think it's all we're out to get them by making them live within 15 minutes of their house?
Give that to Perry.
Yeah, it's funny because I obviously advocate for 15-minute cities, and that's kind of part of the work that I do. But I've honestly just ignored that whole conspiracy. Like I don't even know enough about like what they think the conspiracy is about, because I've just gone, you know what, I don't care. And I think sometimes when you're faced with that kind of sort of bizarre, it's best to just kind of not engage with it, is my opinion, because this work is hard, and if we spend all our emotional energy, which we really need to hold on to. I mean, as Catherine said the other day, I'm like Catherine, I'm an optimist every other day, and so I only have the energy for that fight, some days of the week, and so spending it on people who are just obstructive, I think, is pointless. So yeah, I don't know what their vibe is, but I'm just going to say no thanks.
There was a woman up the back first.
Is there any way that that we can get hold of Bridget's 5 minutes on transport? It would be gold for my group in Nelson, Tasman, working with the councils to be able to show that very wonderful 5-minute talk.
by my employer, Greater Wellington Regional Council. So Bridget has done some fabulous talks, very happy to send them out to everyone who's interested. Oh, did anyone get it? Yeah. So we can organise that. All cool, Bridget? She might
And I'm assuming that we're able to send out all the presentations, Sarah, that there have been. So all the presentations will go out and these recordings will go online. So. Yeah. So. Okay, next question. There was a woman at the back and then there was a man down here. Oh.
Kia ora. So I had the mic a couple of turns ago. My question's also for Bridget, possibly also for Perry. So after the election, almost regardless of the result, we're going to have a government trying to push ahead with multiple highway building projects. Usually stopping those projects falls on local communities and local groups like it did here in Wellington with the Save the Basin campaign. So my question is, how do we band together across the country to stop these projects?
Can you hear me in the room?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I can hear myself, so I'll carry on. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think it's everyone within their own community and capability. My motivation, as I've said, is to be the mole within the transport community, because there are a lot of people there who want to call this out as well. None of these projects make sense from a transport policy and economic perspective. So that's my response. I think it's not one or the other. It's collective activism, actually, in every community as we find ourselves in it.
Okay, we'll take one more question and then we're going to go and have Kai.
Hi.
So there's that woman there up there. She's been there for quite a long time. So she's the second row.
I've got the microphone. Hi. My question, thanks everyone for the wonderful talks. I'm really interested in the tradable energy quotas. So in my day-to-day job, I work with a lot of kind of multiply disabled people, and I think the energy quotas sound amazing, but I'm just kind of trying to wrap my head around that, how that would work for people who, for instance, I'm thinking of people who kind of control most of their environment through kind of an electronic system on their wheelchair, and then they regularly have to go up to see specialists in Auckland and things like that, how that would fit into that system. I absolutely think it's a great system, but I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Well, the answer is, I haven't thought about it yet, but because we've got a petition before Parliament that will close on the 30th September in 2 weeks' time, and I urge you to sign it on the Parliament site. Just look up tradable energy quotas. And we have to write a submission in support of it, and I'd like to draw on your knowledge for that. Thank you.
One more. So that one. Yeah.
Kia ora. Thank you all for your presentations, extremely enlightening. Bridget is the one that really grabbed me because I'm really keen on the public transport too. And I love you said about corruptions. The only one I heard was the Boys Club. Can you elaborate on some of the others, please?
You know, I was thinking this morning in the shower that the only thing that I would lean into as a female professional is the patriarchy to punch it in the face. It's messy, and I'm publishing my speech on LinkedIn in a few minutes, so it'll be there in public anyway, but I encourage everyone to watch Big Deal, which is a documentary online that exposes this kind of stuff, that corruption is not always clear-cut in money. The Boys Club in transport is the one that I know the most about, but, you know, they're everywhere, and that's, as I've said, that's where I think the real problem is.
Kia ora. Love a bold statement from a wahine. Thank you very much, Bridget.